Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today, we got some personal stories to dive into with a close buddy of mine, and we are a few drinks in, so I guess we'll see what reveals itself in this episode. So, stay tuned. Hey, everyone, it's Brody Frye, and here, we dive deep into difficult questions. We'll map out thoughts, theories, and crazy ideas for the love of knowledge and growth. So, how do we answer some of the mind's toughest questions? This is the Mind Hiking Podcast. All right, guys, we are back. So today, I got my old buddy, Brandon Greer. How you doing, Brandon?
Good.
Hell
it's
yeah.
Been a while.
Yes, it has. It's kind of funny, too, because we haven't seen each other in a while, but now I got him back over here and got him recording. So we got a couple beers with us to, just kind of cheers. Fuck yeah. Bud Light, as usual. Easy piss water, so that's nice. So how you feeling? How you doing?
I'm all right. It's been an interesting
turn of events lately.
I mean, honestly, like the past year or two has been pretty
interesting.
That's the only word, the good word for it is interesting.
Yeah. There's been a lot of change the last.
A lot of life-changing events.
Yeah. I don't know if we want to get into the personal matters so much, but we'll kind of backtrack a little bit here. Interesting how we kind of met, right? So before we kind of get into how we met, you want to take me back to your situation and how you talk about.
So I'll be pretty open and honest.
Okay.
I mean, everybody's had some tough times, and you always learn. And way back then, and moved up from my parents, and realistically, my stepdad and my mom met.
Yep.
And had a little bit of rough time with them at first, and then I think they already knew you.
Yep.
But I never met you or anything until I was 16.
Yeah, I was maybe even earlier, maybe 15.
Yeah, 15 or 16.
Yeah. Because you were in high school. You were
Yeah, I was transferring a lot of schools because they just never wanted to put up with all my bullshit.
Yeah, you want to talk about that a little bit? How many schools did you go to?
Oh, gosh. I probably have gone to 15 different schools total.
Jeez. Okay, and then why didn't anybody want to keep you around?
They just I would always smoke weed, and
you're a troublemaker.
I wasn't necessarily a trouble. I never really started fights.
Yeah.
I always ended fights though. If somebody wanted to have problems, okay.
Yeah.
But I just never liked doing work. I can't read out of a textbook.
Yeah.
But the different classes that you could do stuff with your hands, okay, I can do that.
I remember you saying stories about you just kind of would sit in on the class and mind your own business, and then your teacher would get upset with you for not taking out your book or whatever.
I just never liked reading textbooks.
Yeah.
And just I was 10 when I started smoking cigarettes, and then I think 13 when I started chewing tobacco. So middle school and high school, I'd bring in cans of chew or Red Man or Beach Nut, and I remember way back when there was a bunch of us redneck kids that got in-school suspension for the day. Yeah. And then we were all just sitting there with chew, spitting on the ground, and just moving it around with our feet for 8 hours while the teachers weren't there.
Yeah.
They just kind of check in. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's alive.
Yeah, I don't really think the in-school suspension worked too much, because it's kind of all right, you guys got to come to school, but your punishment is that you don't have to do work.
Sit in this classroom.
Yeah, it's all right, just do what you guys normally do. Just sit in the classroom and don't pay attention.
Yeah, but it was in school. They wouldn't talk to you.
Yeah.
They just here's a paper.
Yeah, draw.
Go home.
Draw pictures.
Go home with that. That's your homework for tomorrow.
Yeah.
But they just never liked me there, and so they just kept not transferring me, but then my mom would move a lot.
Yep.
So then have to go to the different school districts and get reunited, or not even reunited, but just make new friends.
Right. Yeah, that had to have been tough. You want to talk about like this kind of like the struggles of that? Like how
There was, I wouldn't say struggles, because like I was pretty young for most of that.
Yeah.
Whenever we were moving a lot more.
Okay.
Like we used to move every year when I was 6 to 13.
Oh, wow. Dang.
Because that's whenever my mom.
How many different states have you lived in?
Only one. Only in Illinois.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you were down south.
Southern
Illinois. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. So lots of schools.
Well, and then Wisconsin, I guess.
Yeah.
I was in Wisconsin for that year during COVID.
Yeah.
Or right after COVID.
Yeah. Were you there in Wisconsin for a full year? Was that a full year?
No, I think it was like 9 months or something.
Okay. Yeah.
But way back then, just transferring schools, that was the only reason.
Yep.
It was just going to all those different schools. But then high school hit.
Yep. Different story.
And I had my long hair.
Yeah.
That was way too long for me and anybody in the school. Smoked way too much weed.
Yeah.
And tried too many different things.
Yeah.
But that was like the experience. I didn't go to college, obviously. And so that was my college experience, was, I guess, early on.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you mind if we get a little bit more personal about like your younger age? Is that okay?
What?
Like when you were growing up, you want to talk about kind of like your parents and what happened there, and then kind of like from then on, like that situation. You feel comfortable with that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say there's not much to say, but parents grew up.
Yep.
Or,
Yeah. So like kind of about who you were living with and what kind of happened.
Yeah. So my mom and my dad met. They were at a bar, I think. They knew each other for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Got together, and then 6 months later they started having a baby.
Yep.
My dad was on the religious side of Christianity. My
really?
mom's kind of Catholic sided.
Okay.
But both of them still you gotta marry somebody before you impregnate them.
Yep.
So my dad was kind of forced almost at that point. It was like,
Sure.
okay, I gotta put the ring on this woman's finger. And they just never had a good relationship. I really don't know a whole lot of what happened way back then.
Yeah.
But my mom, like, I know my sister was 6 years older than me, Kirsten.
Okay. Yep.
She was diagnosed with bipolar. And to these people, they took her to church.
Yeah.
And these Christian Southern people were just like, oh, she's got the devil in her. They like seriously like splashed holy water on her, like chanted around her. And she's like 7, like, really young kid. And she was like
frightening,
terrified.
probably. Yeah. Wow.
Like she still talked about that. Like to this day, she would bring that up and be like, that was like kind of
traumatizing.
Yeah, it was just like, that's definitely an ingrained memory.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough.
But really just, they had a lot of issues, so then they moved 700 miles away. Every single month after that, since I was 6 years old, visitation.
Yep.
Back and forth.
And so you were living with your...
I was living with my dad
at this
full
point?
time.
Okay.
And then my mom, they would meet halfway, like 300 miles.
Yep.
Drive halfway. And then my mom would only see me for like 2 days or sometimes a week. Like around the holiday, like Christmas.
Yep.
You get, Christmas break from school.
Sure. Yeah.
So they would get their Christmas break. But then like the next year, they reversed the visitation schedule.
Yeah.
So you had Christmas one year. Well, now she's going to get Christmas this year. And then again, it just flopped back and forth. That had a lot to do with my upbringing, I guess. But to this day, I'm like, okay, my dad wasn't the best guy. I know he tried at some points, but he also was grown up from an era where they were tough.
Yeah.
They were rough and tough people way
Yep.
back in the 30s and 20s. And then when my dad was born in like 50s.
Mm-hmm.
So I could kind of understand.
Like how his parents were on him kind of thing. Yeah.
That was like tough because I want to say physical. Things would always happen around the house.
Sure.
And always me getting in trouble, blah, blah.
Yep.
Stuff at school would happen. I didn't want to open up my textbook.
Yep.
Well, now I'm going to go sit in my room for 4 hours doing nothing, looking at at the paint.
Yep.
But honestly, that made me who I am today. So, like, I never think bad back on that.
Yeah, it's part of your character.
Yeah.
Who you became.
And, I mean, honestly, like, the past 10 years have been the most life-changing.
Yeah.
From me and my dad having our last kind of bad confrontation.
Yeah.
And then, so what happened with that was I was in my room playing, I think it was like NBA.
Yeah.
Like NBA, like 2000.
Yeah.
Sitting there playing that, and I was burning matches.
Okay, yeah.
Obviously, matches create smoke.
Yep.
Gets a little fiery smell.
And just the matches, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my dad came in, said something, and saw that shit, and he was just like, "What the fuck?" So then they called the police. Because my dad did.
Your dad called the police on you?
Yeah, because he's like, "Oh, you're trying to burn down my trailer."
Oh,
and I was just sitting there, like, I think I had like a cup of water, like some like cup of something, like it was like a water cup or something, like Tupperware container.
So you guys weren't getting along really well at this point.
No.
How old were you at this point?
I was like 12.
Okay.
And it was like 2012, 2011.
Okay.
So that was our last kind of issue.
So the police came and
they just like were like, "Okay, what's going on?" I was burning matches when I was playing my games. And they kind of like they looked into the past, and like my dad gave them like all my school records and shit, and was just like, "Okay, well, obviously you have issues." So they took you to court, or like I had to go sit down at the police station for like, I don't know, it was probably like 8-10 hours.
Yep.
Something like that. I know I took a nap there.
Yeah.
I know I definitely took a nap because it was like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Way past my bedtime at that point. And then my dad came back and got me, but then my mom was going to come get me. I had to talk to like a DCFS worker, and they're like, "Okay, well, you're going to go stay with your mom for a while."
Yeah.
Like, whatever amount of time, like, we'll figure that out or whatever.
Yep.
I don't think they tell you that much whenever you're that.
Right.
Like, they're just like, "Okay, mommy's going to come get you soon."
Yep. Yeah, yeah. They just kind of like make it easy for the young child.
That happened, and then didn't talk to my dad for 4 years, because then whenever that kind of stuff happens, the courts basically make the other person, like in that case my dad, the defendant, I guess, get a restraining order. So like you can't talk to your kid for this amount of time, or you can't contact the other spouse.
Now, didn't you have to like pick one of your parents in the courtroom?
Yeah, that was a little bit later.
Okay.
It did come down to that.
Yeah.
That was when I was
you mind getting into that?
like 12 or 13, yeah. That was right after.
Yep.
They made me like, "Okay, mommy's gonna come get you."
Yep.
But then I went and stayed with my mom. Had to drive back 7 hours down to that courthouse, because that's like where you had to go back to where the original like divorce or marriage happened. That county.
Wow. Yeah. Yep.
So had to drive all the way back down there just to go stand in front of a judge, and they asked me. I was, I think, 11.
Yep.
And they were just like, "Oh, well, who do you want to live with?" And I literally sat there. I think at that time, my mom didn't know my stepdad. but they it was just like, okay, mom has this, and this. Like, I don't remember what was going on in my head, but I was just like, I have this options here and this options here.
Yep.
My dad had no money and like getting power shut off and all these different things and like running out of food certain times.
Yep.
So it's just like, okay, my mom has more money. Like that. At the end, I was kind of like, I know if I go with my mom, I can at least have a roof that's somewhat over my head with the lights turned on.
Yeah, a little more stable.
Yeah.
Huh.
So we made that choice and had to tell the judge that, and then
like 11, 12 years old. Somewhere. Wow.
And
That's back to the traumatizing thing. That had to have been one of the moments in your life, one of the biggest moments that really defined you, because that's a huge weight on your shoulders, especially at that age.
I don't see it as a weight. I mean, like, it definitely was a tough choice to make back then, but like I was already kind of surviving.
Yeah.
As it was. Like, again, my dad didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
So like I'm used to the power getting shut off, but that's a little bit later on down the story.
Yep.
That moment wasn't too much. Just going out there and going, okay, my mom has this to offer me, but my dad has this.
Yeah.
This one's a better option for me.
Yep. Did your dad work?
So he worked for years. He built like the trusses for houses, the triangles on the roofs.
Yeah.
Those, like, he's done that for I think like 20 years.
Yeah.
But then he developed scoliosis throughout his spine.
Yeah.
So then he had to have back surgery. And then I was like 8 years old when that happened.
Okay.
He had back surgery.
Yep.
He was basically bedridden.
Yeah.
I had to do everything for him because he had nobody else. I was his only kid.
Yeah.
And go there, change the padding, the bandages and stuff, clean up the blood.
Yep.
And that was, I mean, I don't want to say a rough time. Like, that was definitely an interesting time. Like, taking care of somebody that takes care of you.
Yeah.
That definitely hits hard.
Yeah, I bet.
But back then I was like, it didn't affect me that much.
Right. It was kind of like a normal situation.
Yeah.
Like you didn't know any different.
Yeah, I didn't know too much. I was like, I don't really know what blood is. Like, I didn't know anything. I was like, okay, take this stuff off, put this stuff on.
Yep. Yeah. Jeez. So then after that, how was that when like kind of it got tough when he wasn't working? Like power going out and stuff?
No, that was a little bit later on. So then I moved up with my mom.
Okay. Oh, so you were back and forth with your parents? Okay.
Yeah, like 13 is whenever like my mom and my stepdad met.
Like officially,
like 12. Like, so I moved up 11, 12. That's when I had to make the choice in front of the judge.
Gotcha. Yep.
Say, hey, I want to live with my mom instead.
And that's kind of where, from that point, you stayed with your mom.
Yeah, I stayed with my mom, and then she met my stepdad.
Okay.
And at first we started getting along, but then it was like he would come over to the house. I think at one point I remember me and my mom were having an issue, and then he'd try to get involved.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
I think he like walked into my room and stuff and was trying to talk to me. I was just like, I was young, I was dumb, and I was just like, get the fuck. Like, just being, I guess, a nasty kid. Like, now looking back on it, like, I was just like, that was pretty rough for no reason.
Yep.
Like, a lot of the stuff I've said, but it's just like, at this point now, I guess it got said, and I mean, things have obviously turned over since, and there's no hard feelings, I guess, about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's different, too, because, like, on a perspective standpoint, like, it's a tough situation, like, especially in a spot where you came from with that change, growing up with such change, and then, like, the whole stepdad situation is just, like, tough to kind of get accustomed to, especially at an age like that and what you've been through too, because you kind of didn't you have a few kind of like mom's boyfriend things where you kind of struggled to
for a little bit. My mom would just like, I mean, like, I never really she would always be very not secretive,
Okay, yeah.
But she would never bring them home. There was only, I think, 2 guys that I can like actually remember. She dated this guy right after she left my dad. Like I think it was like 2006. So I was like 6 years old.
Yeah.
She had this guy she always called him 6-year guy. They were together for 6 years, but I don't remember how long they were actually. She never called him by his real name because at the end he had like a whole separate family and shit.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, like he was like he had like his like our family.
Yeah.
And then like turns out he had this
whole other family.
Whole other thing going on.
Do you do that shit?
I don't know how you can afford it. Yeah. He worked at this like NASCAR kind of place where like they just like install like the safety race seats.
Oh, well, I guess that's how you afford it.
Yeah. And then I know he worked at a bar because we used to go down to the bar and 6, 7 years old. Obviously, you can't really be in a bar, but they served food. And it was like chicken nuggets and fries.
Yeah.
And then get a Coke.
Yep.
But then we'd sit at the bar and talk with our parents.
Yep.
Basically.
Yeah.
But, oh my gosh, you made me lose whole track.
Sorry.
That whole thing, like the whole boyfriend thing, she never really brought them home.
Yep.
There was that 6-year guy. Like we got along. Like I don't really remember too much about that because I was too young.
You're really young, yeah.
But there was one when I got a little bit older. It was right before she met my now stepdad. So probably, I mean, like 2009, 2010, I guess. Throwing out a range. I really don't know. She met this guy, I think off like Bumble, like one of the
one of the dating apps.
Yeah. And she just like kind of hung out with him for a few times and came over. And I remember her asking me, like I remember seeing this guy. I was just like, he looks like just not good. Like he just didn't look like a good guy.
Yeah.
Like I just something about me.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't like him.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I don't know what was in me about that.
Yeah.
And she asked me and I was just like, I don't like him.
Yeah.
And I think it was that night we drive this guy home.
Okay.
And my mom's just like, I'm sitting in the back seat. Like it's just us three in the car. Like those, like my mom's driving, this dude's in the passenger seat. I'm behind the guy.
Yep. Okay.
And we're just driving home, or like driving this guy home. And she's just like, I don't think this will work out anymore. And I like, for a while, I was just like, I feel bad because I feel like she listened to me too, like she trusted on my instinct too much. And I was like, for the longest time, I was just like, did I like mess up something good for her?
Yeah.
But again, like it's hard to think because obviously things happen for a reason.
Right.
So like now she's got not everything going on, but she's got a good life going ahead of her.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
That was the only 2 that I remember about though.
Yeah, that's another tough weight there. Like just, making tough. And that one was kind of different where it was like you made a decision and then all of a sudden like you found out that it kind of meant more later. Like after she was like, okay, whatever you say kind of thing. And then just does it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's again, just something in the back of your head. I feel like who you are today kind of is hugely shaped by these big weight decisions that you were like forced to make growing up, and it says a lot about who you are.
Well, I mean, growing up, but so like later on in life, we'll just keep going on.
Yeah,
this story,
let's just follow this line.
So later on, stepdad happens. They start dating, kind of thing. So he was a good guy at first, but then we had our issues. Like I was saying earlier, come into my room, try to talk.
Yeah.
But then we started connecting. Like I think he took me out to go shoot my first gun. That was a really cool experience.
Yeah, that's cool.
Fishing, really, don't like fish. I like being on a boat.
Yeah,
that's cool. I can go 70 miles an hour on a boat, but the fishing part and sitting still for 5 hours, I don't know if I can do. And he was weird because he would like go out in like 14-hour days. But then if there was like any change in the weather, nope. It was like a sunny day 80 to like 130 degrees, he's go for. Anything less or higher than
he's like a crazy fisherman,
if it
right?
starts to even like sprinkle the slightest,
Yeah. Doesn't he have some
going.
sort of like a record on one of the lakes or something?
I don't think so.
I feel like but he's big fisherman though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spends thousands. If not half a mils.
Oh, jeez. On lures.
Yeah. I mean, hell, fishing rods are like $400 each.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think some of his are like $9.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Dang.
But really, that's like, we had some issues at first, but it really wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
We got along after that. We started figuring out, okay, just have space. Yep. We can go shoot guns or we can go talk about different car things separately.
Yep.
So then later on, we started having issues again. What happened? I can't remember what happened. I think I was just kind of like, I don't really care to live here anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't think I made the right decision whenever I was 12 or 11.
Yeah. I
want to go back and live with my dad. No, what happened was I was going to go see him for the summer. That's what it was.
Okay.
I haven't, because of the 4-year, they made me put up the 4-year restraining order.
Okay, yeah.
So after the 4 years were up, he finally got a hold of me. And we kind of reunited. Okay, let's meet up for the summer break throughout my school year.
Yeah.
So we go through. My mom just sent me on a train down to Southern Illinois. Got picked up. Saw my dad for the first time in 4 years. We really didn't do much. Mm-hmm. There was one night I remember we got really drunk. Because my dad was he was like a cool dad, but not like super cool and rich and fancy kind of cool. But like, okay, if you want to experiment, do it with me so you're in the house.
Yeah, yeah.
We would always be in the house doing certain things. Like I remember seeing him smoke joints. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh. After he'd get up and go to the bathroom, I'm going to run over and take a few hits of that. I saw him doing that. I'll suck on this thing real quick. I'd put it back. I swear to God, he'd come out and just be like, you touch this? No. No. Boy. And then he'd just like go get something to drink. But then we had... we had those Four Locos. Yeah. Terrible drinks. Yeah. It was supposed to be one for each of us. It was supposed to be 2 Four Locos and then 2 of those Mike's Harders.
Yep.
And he had half a Mike's Harder and he had the spinal surgery. So he was on the ground like having like a muscle spasm. Mm-hmm. I slammed back the Mike's Harder. I was like, that's good. That one tastes good.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, just leave him dying on the ground. It's okay.
He's so just like seizuring on the ground while you're slamming,
like kind of
throwing his drinks back.
Yeah. And he got him for us. Like it was like he was like, okay, if you're gonna drink, you're gonna do it at my house. Yeah. And I was like, well, I want to drink.
Yeah.
Like, I want to have an alcohol.
Yeah. So you start having an alcohol, and
so I went and got a Four Loco, and those are big cans.
Oh yeah.
And I take like 2 sips of that. And it's like, that's nasty, but fuck it. This is what the adults drink.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, let's do this. So I drank the whole Four Loco. It's like, okay. Sat there for a little bit. I had a rocker chair, like the Lazy Boy.
Yep.
I just remember like rocking back and forth, and there was a fan next to me, like those little stand-up little black fans that rotate.
Yep. And
the door was open. And I was so drunk. I was like, I gotta close that door. There's something. I think it was like a glare or something. I'm just like, I gotta close that door. So I got up, and as soon as I stood up, you get that head rush.
Yep.
And I just like stepped on the fan, And I lost my balance as soon as I stepped on that fan, like the little base portion of it.
Yep.
I lost all mobility.
All your motor skills gone.
Literally, all like those like goats that get scary, like they stiffen up their legs. That's kind of what happened. My dad's on the ground, like fucking spasming. He's like, my back.
So you're just sitting in the rocking chair, just like having your drink. You're like, looking at the view of your dad spazzing
I
out.
literally like chugged that thing.
Okay.
Like I was just like, I gotta get this thing down. Like I think it was like fucking maybe 10 minutes. And then like this whole Four Loko.
You touch the magic fan and instantly become paralyzed.
Yeah. So stood up, touched that fan, just all motor skills just out the window. My dad's on the ground like next to me. And I just fucking fall right next to him.
How old are you now?
I think it was like 15.
15, and your dad was like, what?
God, he was probably like 45.
Okay.
47. Maybe at the
Father
time.
and son laying on the floor.
Yeah.
Just camping out.
Drunk. Like, because like he had those problems. Like he would like have like, half a beer and be like pretty tipsy.
Yeah.
So like Mike's harder is pretty strong.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was from his, like, after the surgery kind of thing. Yeah.
And I think, he probably had like Vicodin or something.
Yeah.
So that was something else. Like that was the time of me being on summer vacation, but then all of a sudden, like it was fun for a little bit.
Yep.
Supposed to be catching a train back up to Chicago.
Yep.
And
so this happened the time where you went to visit him during the summer.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you're going back up.
Yep.
Okay.
And my mom was just like, oh yeah, I didn't get the ticket. You say how you don't like me much, blah, blah, blah. Go live with your dad.
So she just kind of like stranded you down there?
Yeah. Was just kind of like, and then like literally just like sent me different, like.
Wait, so did you go to the station? You're like, hi, I should have a ticket waiting for me. And then it wasn't.
No, like this is like, I was told like, okay, I don't know when summer break is.
Yeah.
But like, August to October? I don't know when. I don't know.
No.
Whenever summer
June,
break is.
early June, end of May, June to August probably. Then, so what exactly happened after that?
So,
like
they were just like, okay, summer breaks almost over. You're supposed to be like, I was supposed to be trying to catch this train at the end of the month or whatever.
Yeah.
And
because you're going up, living up with your mom,
but then she sent me down for the summer,
and you're going to school, obviously up at a school by your mom.
That's what
so you had to get up there,
and then it was like 2 weeks before school or something like that. Like it was like school is supposed to be starting soon. I need to go get a train. Like I need to get back up there so I can get the school supplies, get re-enlisted.
Yep.
And then she was just like, "Oh well, do you want to live with your dad?" She sent me things like almost instant, like right at like got that text message one day. It was like, "Oh, I'll live with your dad." My dad got the same kind of text message. It was like, "Well, he's yours now. I'll sign over custody," kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that they did, but I never went to court for that. Like I didn't have to sign anything at that point. Like I don't remember.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like.
So your parents just kind of played past the Brandon for years.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It was just like pass the child back and forth. Who wants more money? But at the end, nobody really got money. Because my dad was too broke to afford child support to pay to my mom.
Yeah.
And then my mom would only send like $100 every 3 months or whatever.
Yeah. Now you have 3 siblings. You want to talk about kind of how your that situation?
That situation, the 3 sibling situation.
Yeah, how does that work?
Well,
because they're not like
way back before I was born.
You're the youngest.
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 4. So my mom got kind of weird with it. She had 2 girls. They were a year apart. And then she had a boy a year apart from the last girl. And then waited 4 years and then had the last boy. So like could have had, 4 years and going all 4, but no.
Different dads though.
Yeah.
Right? Yep.
Yeah, different dads. Those 3 have the same dad, and I'm the only one that doesn't have the same dad as them.
Okay.
But really, I mean, like, they don't. I wouldn't say they didn't play a lot in my life, but really, like, because of the whole visitation and not visitation, but the whole sole custody, who has custody of a child, that kind of determined who the kid / baby / whatever, they're adolescent.
Yeah.
That's who they live with more. So, like, I would only see my siblings on a weekend at a hotel that my mom would buy. Like, my mom would drive 7 hours to get me, pick me up, drive 45 minutes back to a hotel, and be like, okay, well, have a good weekend. We can go play in the pool.
Yep.
Like, that was our, not vacation. But yeah, like, that was our, like,
that was your Disneyland time.
Yeah. Well, like, I know a few times we've gone to Six Flags.
Okay.
But like, that was later on. I think I was like 16, 17.
That was when you were really lucky. That was like getting spoiled. Six Flags.
That was like, I got like 3 C's on a report card, kind of lucky.
Oh, yeah.
You go to Six Flags.
Yep. So I kind of want to like go back a little because I distracted you, but the oh yeah, suck that thing. Anyways, back to the summer trip. You kind of like couldn't get back up to your mom, basically.
Yeah. So my mom was just like, okay, well, you want to live with your dad. So my dad had obviously not start taking care of me more, but like,
it's been a few months, so you were kind of getting used to it down there again.
Not really. I wasn't really used to it, but I was like, okay, I kind of like how I can do my own thing. My dad doesn't care. Like, at my mom's house,
you had freedom.
I had to like take a beer bottle. Like, I would steal a beer bottle from my aunt's house. Like, we'd go to visit my cousins. I'd steal a beer bottle and had to like put it underneath my trash can, like the plastic trash can, like lift up the garbage bag. It still has garbage in there.
Yep.
Put these beer bottles under it. Put it back down. Swear to God, I'd go to school, come back, fucking the beer's gone. It's like, what?
So they knew.
Like, instantly, one day would go by.
They're checking your room.
Yeah. So like at my dad's, was like, okay, there's a little more freedom. Like, he was like, okay, here's your room. Like, I could have weed out. Like, he would smoke my weed.
A different reason. You weren't going to get in trouble this time. You were just going to get it stolen.
Yeah. But he was like, okay, you can have that. Like, I don't care. If you want to drink, do it here so you're safe.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, that's how I want to be as a parent. Like, that's reasonable. I don't want my kid to end up at a party and get busted by the cops and have to go bail them out or whatever.
Yep.
Drink in my house where I know you're mostly safe.
Comfort of your own home kind of thing.
Yeah. Mostly safe here.
Yeah. So you kind of, did you prefer it at your dad's because you had the freedom?
Yeah, I guess for a little bit I was like, this is nice. Like, I can just do what I want.
Yeah.
I really didn't have many friends. Like, I was kind of still reuniting with friends that I knew from 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm like, I haven't seen, like, now we're all in high school.
Yep.
Just getting started, I think, freshman year. That happened.
So then you started going to school down there.
Went to school, and they didn't care. Like, this was freshman high school, and they were still, like, giving you worksheets of, like, 8 times 8. And I was just like, wow, this school is easy. I'm like, math is my number one. I can fly through that. But then, like, the science.
Yep.
1980s projectors, like the ones that they roll it on the carts.
Yep.
That had little arms sitting on them. Yeah. Oh, pull down screen. Yeah. That's.
Yeah, with the clear, they had the light board with the clear paper.
And they're like, oh, if you're going to write on here, you got to use these colors.
Yeah. It was like a mirror. It was just light with like a little mirror arm.
Yeah. And so, like, this school was not that good. It literally was, like, run down.
Yeah.
But, so right out front, and that's what my bad thing. Like, the first day I was there, I met two kids, I guess, that I remembered. I'm like, man, they look so familiar. Hey, what's your name? You live at the same house that I used to go hang out at whenever I was here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you're my old friends, Dylan. Okay, cool. Turns out this kid's a huge pothead now. So I was like, okay, now I found a new guy down here. So now I had a new guy, not my dad.
Yeah.
Like, I would just go to my dad if I needed weed.
Yeah.
But now I can go to this guy at school.
Nice.
So I would go to this kid. The first day, he like brought me around the school, showed me everything. Like, he was my little guide.
Yep.
And right outside the front school, they literally called it Smoker's Alley.
Mm-hmm.
Before school, during lunch, after school, at night. I'm sure there was fucking people there at night. You just walk out there. There's a bunch of teenagers smoking cigarettes right before school or during lunch break, smoking weed, doing random pills, whatever,
Smoking everything under the sun.
There wasn't a lot going on down there at the time.
Okay.
There wasn't, like, at that time, like, it was still pretty leveled out.
Yeah.
But really, I did that like every day for months.
Mm-hmm.
Going to school, just did all the. I just never cared about school. Just like, I want to go outside, smoke with these kids, and then I started picking up more on cigarettes. I got back with my dad. I was smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
Because I always went back and forth nicotine, like what choice of nicotine.
Yep.
At the time, my dad was broke, so he was rolling cigarettes.
Okay.
You buy those little rolling machines, buy the bag of tobacco, buy the box of the tubes, and you literally just sit there and roll your own cigarettes. Well, my dad would basically hire me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he would, like, seriously, he's like, okay, I'll give you 2 cigarettes for out of every 50 you can roll me. To me, I was like, whatever. Like, I just got out of school, like, took my shower, did whatever.
Yep.
Like, I didn't have a PlayStation. Like, I didn't really have a lot of that stuff. So, like, I just wanted to go outside. Like, that was
you
my
had a cigarette station. Who needs a
that's when I was 15, 16. I was more worried about drugs and shit. I wasn't worried about technology.
Yeah.
So, I was just like, yeah, I'll do this. So, I sat there and I'm just like, man, all these kids at school smoke this shit. And then it kind of started dawning on me. Yep. They would walk up to me as we're in our little group friend circle smoking a joint. People would walk up, hey, you got a cigarette? Fuck it. I started asking around at the school, hey, do you guys need cigarettes?
Yeah.
I can roll you cigarettes for 50 cents each, or I can sell you like a Marlboro Red for $1.
Yeah.
A pack comes with 20, and you buy a pack for, like, I think back then it was like $6.03 with tax.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I sell 20 cigarettes. I made $20.
Yeah.
And I can just go back to the store and buy 2 packs and still pocket $5.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's genius.
Yeah. Little
and even the little 50 cent, like the ones that I roll.
Yeah.
It's still tobacco. It's not as good quality, I guess, as like the name branded stuff, but like it's nicotine.
Yeah.
And obviously, these kids are freaking doing anything for this stuff
the
anymore.
Job done. Yeah.
Yeah. So, my dad would help me, and we would take the pill bottles.
Yep.
Like empty pill bottles, wrap them with duct tape, covered all black, and then like roll cigarettes and then put them inside there. Okay. Because then I could sneak it into the school.
Yeah.
It's not as obvious as like a pack of cigarettes, like the actual name, the brand, like we're using the pack. So like we got a few different things like tackle boxes. Like those bigger types of like fishing tackle boxes. Fit like 15 in there. So I went to school, and then my dad came up because after he had his back surgery, they gave him Norcos, Valium, and oxycodones. Oh, and then he had Percocets for a little bit. My dad came up with this. He's like, well, see how much this stuff can go for at your school.
Yeah.
So we did that. And I went around school. I started selling cigarettes in the morning. Like that next morning, went around and started selling cigarettes for 50 cents each. Came home with like a whole pocket full of quarters.
Yeah.
Like I think I sold like 30 cigarettes in a day.
Oh, wow.
And what I would always do was my dad would give me like he would tell me what his price on what the pills would be worth on, like on the streets, I guess. It's like, $3 here. This one's $5. This one's $8. If it's this milligrams, it's gonna be $10. And so like I kind of started knowing prices about different things. I already knew about weed weights and stuff, like the weights in general. But then I just started selling stuff. I would trade.
Yeah.
I'll trade you this bag of weed, really shitty weed, but I'm not going to tell you that, obviously. I'll trade you this. And what do you got 2 pills that you really don't know what they are? Okay, I'll take them. I'd Google them, find out what they are, and then I'd go sell them to the next kid. And then I'd try to, like, double my money, if not try to double my profits. No matter, like, if you're going to trade me, I'm not going to trade something for $3 for $3.
Yep.
If yours was $5 and mine's only $3, well, okay.
Yep.
Here you go.
Yeah.
I don't really care what the difference is.
Right.
Like what it actually is. It's just the price.
Yeah.
That's what I did a lot throughout my high school down there. Mm-hmm. I really never focused on school. I was always way too caught up in trying to make money. And then at that point, we were just trying to survive because my dad realized how expensive it was to take care of a kid.
Yeah.
Like he was already like not having a hard time. Like he was not floating easy, but he was kind of floating for a while.
Yeah.
Just by himself, and then having a kid there, extra mouth, more water, more electricity, more maintenance.
And you seem to be one of the probably cheapest kids ever because you're out making money for him too.
So that was the thing is I would go to school, and it got to a point where I was down there for I wasn't down there for the full school year. I think I was down there for the first quarter. So what is that? 4 months? I think it was like 3 or 4 months I was down there. I started growing too quick for my own shoes because there was too much demand, I guess. Like these kids were asking for literally like 3-pack, like just a singular kid was like, I need 3 packs of cigarettes today. Just like, well, fuck. Like, so I'd go out and make that run. Yeah. Come back.
And your fingers can't even move that fast.
Yeah, and kids were... I started selling more weed to kids. Mm-hmm. I would trade different pills, and I started kind of focusing more on weed. I was like, I don't like the pills too much. Like, I tried Percocet. I tried all the stuff my dad had. Yep. I really never tried a lot of the other stuff that people gave me unless I knew what it was 100%. Yeah. There was a few times cocaine. There was Molly. Like, I knew what that kind of stuff was. Like, you can Google that. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'll try that. Yeah. Fun experience, not the best. Yep. But started pushing too much weed out. And me and my dad were selling. He would sell his food stamps. Okay. For 50 cents worth. Like, you get food stamps every month if you make less than $15,000 a year. Yeah. So you get this X amount of money. Well, he would sell his food stamps for 50 cents on the dollar. For cash. Yeah. Or at that time, he would buy, I think it was meth. And he was doing meth. I never knew about this at that point, but that's what he was doing on the side. I was over here trying to sell half a pound of weed for $1,500 and sell 10 packs of cigarettes throughout this day of school. I'd come home with like $300, $400, $800 cash. Yep. Almost a day. And just be like, hey, this will pay the lights, right?
Yeah, like, you had no idea.
You don't know what this shit costs.
Right, right.
You don't know. You go to the store with them, you see, okay, they just spent $600 on these groceries, but you don't realize you just went with them this one time for the past 5 months. Right. But every day that you come home, the fridge is still full. Yeah. So it just like it never clicked fully. Yep. And then I was just like, man, I kept doing this for 2 months straight. Yep. Was just selling a pound of weed within a week. And I was profiting $1,500. Yeah. Selling it for $3,000, making $1,500. Yep. Trading these different pills, just making little ends of cash. Going out, I would buy my dad dinner Because like that's something that we had to. It was a fend for yourself kind of family.
Yeah.
Really, it was just going out there and making the most money I could throughout that day. I came home, gave them all the money I had, and then at the end,
Yep.
lights got shut off. We lost our the apartment that we were living in.
Okay.
Like my dad, it wasn't like an apartment. It was like the five apartments just kind of like lined up next to each other.
Yeah.
So we lost that. He was like 4 months behind on rent, and I kind of was like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, you're like
I'm making $3,000 a month. Like I sat there and did the math. I was like, I'm making like $2,000 to $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of money. Like I don't know what you're doing, but that's a lot of monies.
Yeah.
Like again, like I don't know what
you don't
stuff
quite know,
costs, but like
that seems you're like, this is good, I think.
Yeah. And well, turns out he was buying a bunch of meth and doing all this stuff on the side, so like wasn't paying bills, he's doing all this extra stuff.
Yep.
So we lost our house.
Huh.
And we had to go live out in this. My dad owned a Jeep Grand Cherokee, 1994. He always said it was older than just as old as my sister. Because it was the same year as my sister was born.
Yeah.
We sat there in the middle of winter, like that's when we lost our place.
Yep.
And sat out in this parking lot. Luggage in the back, like in the trunk area.
Yep.
And we had this little lap dog. I named her Tinkerbell. Because that was my dog. That was my first dog.
Yeah. What kind of dog?
It was a little rat terrier.
Okay.
It was like interesting when it was brown and white instead of black and white.
Huh.
We just like stayed out in this Jeep for so long.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2 months after that. And then we were like kind of hopping around to like his friend's house. Like, hey, can we stay here for the night?
Yeah.
My dad would like either give them food stamp money, like give them some food stamps in exchange, or give them pills.
Okay.
And like I still like at the time it never clicked to me till I got the last like 2 years ago. Like it finally was just like, oh my god, it's so obvious.
Yeah. So like 2 years ago to this day, you're talking like that's when it kind of
like 2-3 years ago. I was just like, he told me that he did meth, and that's why we lost the house, and that's how he lost the $3,000 a month, $2-3 grand a month I was making, and because he was spending all in this.
So you didn't know he was spending all that money on drugs until you were back with your mom and you're like an adult.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. So that's a little bit later, but we really had this issue at the end. Like it got down to, we were living in this Jeep for so long together with this dog. I don't want to say this dog, but the dog. My dad was like, we can't afford this anymore. Like, blah, blah, we got to get rid of the dog. Mm-hmm. So I remember we pulled up to this, God, I don't remember if it was like this animal shelter place. Yep. But I remember the gates were closed and it was like after hours kind of thing. Yep. My dad literally was like, go tie the dog up. So I literally got outside and was like, come on, girl. And like literally like grabbed the dog bed, put the dog bed out, put a little food bowl out. Yep. And then tied the dog around this chain link fence and then left her there. And then got back in the car and we drove around for like, I don't know. It felt like an eternity.
Yeah, I bet.
It felt like everything, but then like we turned back around and like we got the dog because I'm just like, it was my dog. Like
yep. So you left it there for
probably like an hour or so.
Yeah.
It was like I guess it was his choice. Yeah. Like it was his doing.
Yep. Yeah, because you were still a kid.
Yeah, and like he told me to do it.
Yeah.
So we got the dog back, and then he's like, then just like you and the dog need to go live with his friend. We called him Jughead. Like that's the only thing I knew. Like it's his only name I knew about him.
Yep.
Was Jughead.
Why is that? Do you
I
know?
don't know. I think that was like an old high school name like they had
Okay.
back in high school.
Yeah.
I only met him like a handful of times throughout my life.
Okay.
He was always a heavy set guy, like
Yeah.
500-600 pound. Like
big guy.
he was a big guy at one point.
Okay.
But at that time he just got the where they take your stomach and make it the size of like a golf ball or something.
Oh, so they like shrink it up or something?
Yeah.
So then you
You
can't
don't
eat more?
Yeah, you basically like eat half a sandwich and like you're full. And then you just like kind of like naturally lose weight because you're literally eating.
Holy shit. I actually never knew that was even a thing.
I can't think of.
They just like cut your stomach down to smaller size so that way you just don't eat as much.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I never even knew that was a thing.
Yeah, so like he lost a lot of weight, and then so like me and the dog lived. We're staying at his house for I think a week, and then my mom was just like, "Hey, I think my dad told her what was happening about this whole situation between us and how we're now living on the streets."
Yeah.
And my mom was like, "Okay, I'll send him back up here." So then packed up all my stuff again.
Yep. Time to pass the Brandon again.
Yep. Said the goodbyes to my dad and then left. And he was just like kind of out in the streets basically.
Yeah.
And I didn't know exactly what he was doing at that time. So then I come back, live with my mom, and we started this family again. And then that's the time that my family, my mom and my stepdad and me, we started to actually like get together a little bit more and bond more.
Yeah.
As I guess as a family. I guess now because like I was a little more not street smart, but I had this thing ingrained in me at this point where I know how to take care of myself, and I know some struggles in life.
Yep.
And
Your independence kind of.
yeah, and that kind of we got a good point from that, and we've been on a good point since. So then a little later down the road, everything was going good, and that's about the time I started meeting you.
Yep.
Literally, I don't want to say I had a choice, but my mom picked me up from school and was like, "Hey, so your stepdad is out working at this farm. We want you to start working. So we're going to take you out of school right now and you're going to go to this farm." Okay, sounds good.
As long as I can get out of school.
Yeah, whatever to get out of this hellhole for the rest of the day. Like noon.
Yeah.
Like, 3 hours left or whatever. 2.5 hours.
Yep.
So we left and went to this farm. And I just remember when I first pulled up, I was like, man, what is that smell?
Yeah. What is that shit?
Yeah, that
Damn,
smell
that
is-
shit stinks.
smells everywhere. And I walked into that building, this giant blue just barn. And the smell of just raw meat
Oh, yeah.
literally just punched me in the face.
Yes. Just let it consume your nostrils.
Yes. And I met you and I was like, okay.
You're like, who the fuck is this schmuck?
Well, they're just like, oh, yeah, this is Brody and this is Brandon. You guys need help? I think that's all he said. And then they
Yeah.
just kind of like gave us a thumbs up and then walked out.
Yeah, my perspective was like, I had no idea you were even. I know Hank was there earlier in the day. Your stepdad is Hank. I know he was there earlier in the day, and I'm just doing the regular rounds of work, and all of a sudden, like, your mom and Hank came back, and you were there, and my dad's like, "Hey, Brody, like, you want to come over here quick? Like, this is Hank's stepson, Brandon." And I was like, "Oh, nice to meet you." And he's like, "Yeah, he's interested in work, and you got any work for him?" And I'm like, "Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, definitely," because I'm just sitting there working. I got no help at that point because we just lost a guy, and I'm like, "Oh yeah," and sure. And then they're just, okay, yeah, here you go. And they just all left. And then you're sitting there staring at me, and I'm like, how's it going? Yeah, so see these blocks? Just put these blocks evenly through these totes.
Yeah.
And then the rest is history.
Honestly, like the first day, it was like really smelly. I was like, the work's not that bad.
Yeah.
But then, like, as it went on for a little bit, I was like, okay, so many funny experiences through there. And the first time I think I saw them, I was like, it looks exactly like a ferret.
Yep.
I was like, that's just a ferret that's a weird shaped.
Yep.
Little oddly shaped.
Just a big ferret.
Yeah. So, like, that was always an interesting job, though. And that's what really started our friendship.
Yeah.
And, you know, seeing each other every single day. And, I mean, back then we used to hang out 10, sometime it seemed like 20, 15.
Oh, yeah.
It had to be 15 to closer to 20-hour days.
Oh, yeah.
I remember a few points. There was that one time that me, you, and that other kid,
Cameron,
we were sitting up on the thing, the mixer.
Yep.
And my parents came to give me, it was like 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Middle of winter, we had to go push feed through the metal wires.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, long days, long hours. It was not uncommon to have sunrise to sunset days or well into darkness, headlamps on. And
yeah, and all those, like, you know, there was a few times that were definitely fun.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
well, and that's another thing, too, is we were so young, but we had, it was cool because we had so much freedom. Like, we were basically our own bosses. I mean, we had our own, we kind of did what we wanted. I mean, as long as the work got done, we knew what needed to be done.
Yeah.
And as long as that got done, I mean, we could do it in the order we wanted and however we wanted, kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
We had a lot of freedom at a young age.
Well, if you didn't do it in a certain order, the certain way that your grandpa wanted it.
Yeah, yep.
Oh.
Yeah, he was hard on us. But, you know, he just cared about his business. And, yeah, it was interesting.
But honestly, like, one of the funny, like, probably one of my better experiences there, it'd be the middle of winter. I mean, there was multiple. We've done it for 5 years with each other. Mm. So in all the middle of the winters, you drop one of those freaking mink. You drop it on the ground, and you're now running around. What was it? 4 acres. One of those yards.
One of the yards, yeah.
It was about 4.
Somewhere in there.
You got 4 acres to run around.
Fenced in.
Yeah, fenced in. The animal can't leave there, but they got these 4 acres to basically roam around and mess with us because they have some very tight cornering capabilities.
Well, and also with these sheds being so low, if you drop it and it goes under the pens, then all of a sudden you got to walk all the way to the end of the shed,
or you just dive through this mountainous pile of poop.
Yep. Yeah, or you could go slip and sliding through the poop.
Yep. And a bunch of ice forming on it.
Oh yeah,
icicles. Yeah, that were always fun times. Dropping and hearing some of the old guys on the other side. Oh, mink out, and then getting the dogs going.
Oh yeah, yeah. The dogs were like the best tool we had.
Oh yeah, they never touched them.
Yeah, no,
but they just. They rounded them.
Yep, yeah, round them up, chase them to you so you could catch them.
Get to a fence or to a dead spot. Okay, you can only go 2 ways now.
Yep. Yeah, they were a huge help because they could go under the pens and you wouldn't have to get all poopy.
Yep. But yeah, that was fun. And then it was towards the end. We were all up in the freezer.
Yeah.
And we were it was me, I think Jeremy. I'm pretty sure he was there, and then Cameron.
I think Jeremy was there for that one.
Then who?
You're talking about my foot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would it have been Mason?
Oh, I don't remember. I think it might have just been the 3 of us.
I could have swore there was a 4th because it was we had winter help.
I don't remember. It might have been one of the others.
we were chasing you around this pallet, and you had to wrap up with. We had this shipment of product.
Yep.
It all fell off pallets, and we had to sit there, stack it, and rewrap it before we stacked it right back up in the freezer.
Yep.
And I think we were chasing you around.
Yep.
And you hit something,
a stud
a screw,
out of the ground.
yeah, a little stud screw on the ground with your foot.
Yep.
And you rolled over, and I just remember looking at you, and you're just like, ow, I think I broke my foot.
No, I had no idea it was broken. I didn't think
you were just
I was
like,
in
you grabbed
such
onto
denial.
your foot, but you're just like, ow.
Yeah, I was like,
ow.
Yeah, I was like I was laughing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I tried to stand up, and I'm like, yeah, this is hurt. This is hurt.
Yeah. Like, I just remember all having so much fun, and then you fell, and we're like, ha, ha, ha. Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is serious.
Yep. There was a spiral fracture on the long, whatever that long bone of your pinky toe is. I don't know what the bone is called, but yeah, that was a painful one. 8 weeks. 8 weeks to heal. Bedridden. Well, supposed to be by the doctors. They told me 8 weeks, but yeah, it was like 5 weeks in, and my dad's like, when are you going to get off your ass and start working again?
Come back down here. We need your help. Can you at least drive a forklift?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing, too, is the equipment we got to operate, too, at such a young age.
Yeah.
I mean, we are trusted with a lot. It was a huge responsibility.
Well, and some the equipment was, some of it was very dangerous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was quite the job.
Yeah, definitely a good experience, and that's what kind of makes you who you are today, and that's what definitely bonded us, especially in that's what started us out. We got started on this thing because we loved these animals.
Yep.
And we wanted to take care of them every day.
And that's another thing too, just for the listeners, I want to just say that's the reason, like, we were the very best at what we did because we were the last to do everything the way we did, by hand. Everything we did was by hand. We loved our animals. We took care of our animals. We did everything by hand every single day. I mean, growing up on the farm, didn't matter, weekends, holidays, all the time working, never had a break, and it was just care for these animals constantly. And we took so much pride in that because everything we had was because of these animals. We love these things, and this is what provided us with the lifestyle that we had. I mean, everything we had was thanks to these animals. So we took a lot of care and pride in what we did on the farm.
Yeah, definitely. There was times where you just like, you can't go home unless you make sure everything's done.
Yep.
And make sure it's all done the right way, because you want to make sure that whenever you come back in the morning that they're still going to be there and good and ready to go for the next day and the following year, and make sure the old ones that we had, that they could still go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Constant hands-on, even though they didn't like being touched.
Yep. Yeah.
Always trying to touch them, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we made sure, just made sure the pens were all clean all the time, made sure they had the highest quality food, and they were nice and warm and clean bedding, everything like that. So everything at most other farms was just automated or sloppily done. And yeah, we took pride in what we did. Yeah, it was a crazy place to grow up on.
Yeah. It was. I mean, I obviously didn't grow up there, but it was definitely
I mean,
once it got towards the end, I mean, so once the farm started closing down, that's whenever the lifestyles really started to change for us.
Yep. Because that was all we knew.
Yeah. You started switching. You had to get out of where you were for your own benefit.
Yep.
And then I was just like, well, this place is still going to pay me, I guess, so I'll stick around here.
Yep.
I did things for a while, but it just got too much to be for what it was, and I had to move on with my life too, and it sucked. But honestly, it was the best opportunity I ever had. Made really good friends, and I mean, honestly, I'd consider you guys basically family.
Yeah.
And you know, after that happened, they just said, "Hey, we're gonna go send you to this guy that's gonna grow hemp."
Yep.
So I went. This guy drove 5 hours.
Yeah.
Down to this guy met one time to go to his little farm.
Yeah.
It turns out to be like a 200-300 acre farm.
Yeah.
I was like, this ain't little.
Yeah. No, that's a big farm.
Yeah, not a small place. And I get there and he's so nice and offer me everything in the world basically, except for internet. That's the only thing I would like. No cell service unless you were like in this middle of the field. And it was like, it always happened at these weird times too.
Oh, yeah.
Like you couldn't go out there and be like, okay, it's 4:00. And you get cell service. Like it just wouldn't happen. And then like you go out there at 9:00, you got cell service.
Yeah.
But then I try to go to bed, like in this little cabin.
Oh, so you stayed there?
Yeah, like I stayed there for a whole week.
Okay, cool.
And I was just taking care of his crops, helping him. I stayed there, and literally there's just nothing going on. I can't watch TV because there's no TVs down. Like, they have nothing. They're off the grid so far. Like, the closest... I lost GPS an hour and a half away from the place. So I just had to ask people where to go to get there. Like, all I know is this road name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't have an exact
You're
address.
Stopping and knocking on doors, just like, hey,
I would stop
what's this? What do you know how to take me to this road?
Yeah, I stopped and talked to people like walking their dogs and stuff. I'd just be like, hey, I'm not from here. I'm very far away from where I need to be, and I'm scared. And it was just, I need to get to this address. Where is this at? And she's like, oh, yeah, you're like an hour and a half away. Go that way for an hour and then turn left onto this road. Not going to tell you what road, but when you see this road, you're going to know it's that road.
Yeah.
Turn left onto that road.
See, there's a tall oak tree with a weird branch hanging up.
You're going to see this giant barn that's got a silo in front of it. It's collapsing to the northwest.
Yes. Yeah, there's a weird like picture on top of it. It's got purple, orange, and yellow. Not the purple, orange, and red one, because that one's slightly before it.
Yeah, if you hit that one, you've gone too far. And I remember going down there, and it was so confusing to me because I have no GPS. So I had to go stop at a gas station, get one of their local road maps.
Oh, really?
To figure out where the fuck I'm at.
Yeah, jeez.
And so
were you like, what is this, the fucking 90s?
Yeah, I was like, I don't have, like, I have a GPS, but I couldn't fucking find satellites.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there looking at this thing. I'm driving down the road, this gravel road, and the trees are barely going over my car. And I come up to this sign, and it's, I don't remember the road name, but Wilmot.
Yeah.
Wilmot Road. Says, go straight for Wilmot. Turn left for Wilmot, go behind you for Wilmot. And I sat there for a solid 45 minutes waiting for somebody else to come down this road to help me.
That.
I was so scared to move from where I'm at. I'm like, all I know is I'm on Wilmot Road.
And everywhere
what town? No idea.
Oh, God.
And I'm at this intersection of Wilmot Road. Good luck. So I finally find this guy that comes barreling down behind me. I'm just like, hey.
You're like, Dad?
Yeah, I literally was like waving him down. I was like, please stop. Please. Please help me. So he comes up, and it was him and his girlfriend or wife or whatever. And, oh, hey, I need to get to this town, this address, this street. Can you please guide me? And he's like, well, we don't get cell service around here, so
we don't take too kindly to strangers.
He said you'll get cell service. He's like, I can take you to the town, but you probably won't get cell service down there. But I can get you to that town. You're 45 minutes away. I'm like, I was an hour away in 3 hours ago. How much farther is this place? Like, are these country hours? Like, what hours are we going off?
Time moves slower down here, son.
Everything's bigger in Texas, including the time zone. So I was just so lost. And so this guy, he's like, all right, just follow me, right? It can't be hard to follow. It was a big truck, big lifted truck. I'm like, cool, can't be hard to follow down this gravel road. Now getting dark out. Trees are fucking in corners, blind corners, just 90-degree turns.
Yep.
And it's like 1.5 cars wide. So you gotta like pull over most of the way to like get both cars squeezed past. Well, this dude just takes off. Like just fucking ripping it.
Just follow me.
No, it's just smoke and shit. So I have to wait. Well, I'm like half a mile
rocks
away.
at your windshield. It's all gravel road.
It was a gravel road.
He's like trying to keep up.
And I'm in this little SUV, and I'm like trying to keep up with this guy. So I kept up with him for the longest time, but it was just follow the dust trail. I just got so bad. I was like,
follow the ground clouds.
I'll find him eventually, I guess. I'll just go straight forever. Take it to wherever this ends. Ravine, bridge, I don't care anymore. Get me off Wilmont.
Just take me anywhere else.
So I followed this guy, and he's just like, I just remember, okay, I finally got self-service again. Like, I hit this little spot, and I made one call, and it was to my mom, and I was just like,
Mommy, help.
Well, I was just like, hey, I barely made it down here. Beep, beep, beep.
She's like,
and then the cells, like, just no bars again. I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, I hit, like, a 30-second window. I probably could have pulled over on the side of the road and just been like, fine.
Oh, God. If I'm, like, my son ever calls me and is just like, hey, Dad, I barely made it down here. Beep, 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 beep. Like, oh, God. I'd hop in the truck right away.
Yeah, but you can't find it because, you only know, she kind of knew where I was going.
Okay.
But, like, not exactly.
Yeah.
And, I mean, like, went down there.
You just scared her more with that call.
Yeah. But then it got worse. So then, like, out there was nothing.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell her I made it there. Like, there was, like, the last phone call was, hey, I'm almost... And basically, I probably died after that. That's all she knew. I didn't talk to her for, like, 4 days after that because of the cell service. I could get it at a certain time on a certain spot in this field. So I was like, man, forget that.
Yeah.
I should never pull my phone, I guess.
Yeah.
So I just kind of started living off the wild out there, too. That was interesting.
Yeah.
Went hunting a few times, obviously.
Nice.
Never got anything.
So you starved?
Yep. Yep, basically.
Did you find berries to eat?
I think I ate corn.
And mushrooms.
Corn off the ground for a while. Remember that? And like,
did your poop hurt?
Yeah. All the time.
I guess. Oh.
Yeah, it all the time.
So, since you were in the middle of nowhere, did you see any aliens?
There was one time God, that was years ago. I thought I saw something, and it was like just this like the comical 3 dots. Like 3 little blinking kind of lights.
Yeah.
But I do remember seeing that 3 dots in this. It wasn't a circle. It was a triangle. Like it was this like little triangle thing. But I remember it being like really dark outside. And then this object was like a darker gray black kind of thing. So you really couldn't see it. But like you could just see like the outline of a triangle with 3 dots. It was kind of at the points, but not quite at the point, like in the middle of the points, I guess.
Is that Southern Illinois?
Yeah.
That was down there also?
Yeah, that was like central Illinois.
Okay. Wait, so was this while you were on this trip, or was this while you were living with your dad?
No, that was at that farm.
Oh, so you actually did down there?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that was going to be my next part, but then you you literally jumped into that.
Fuck.
He literally jumped head first into Did You See Aliens? Yeah, kind of, I think.
Fuck. Okay,
Maybe.
take us back. Okay, so you're eating corn, your poop hurt.
Yeah, and that was really like there was not a lot going on down there, and so we worked. I think it was like get up at like 5 o'clock, go out, water plants, freaking plant more plant. Like it was the same shit every single day. Just take care of these things and watch them grow and harvest
water
them.
plants, plant plants, eat plants, plant poop.
And harvest it and all this stuff. And it wasn't bad. And I think it was like the 5th day, and I was down there for like 7-8 days. It was like my 5th day down there. Same shit's going on. We're just like harvesting the stuff, taking it off the plant itself, the buds. And we were outside taking a break, and I was smoking cigarettes. And that's when it was dark out. And literally there was this...
Morning dark or night dark? Was it
night
like
dark.
Okay.
It was a solid like 8 o'clock at night. And when you get those like country darks...
Yeah.
It's like there's no street lights for 20 freaking miles.
No light pollution. Stars are bright as fuck.
Yeah, the only thing that's lighting is the stars, and it's actually kind of bright out, but it's also dark.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there, and I'm outside having this cigarette, and like I said, you jump to the conclusion of it.
Fuck.
There was this figure out in the sky, and it was just this triangle. And it had three white. It looked kind of white red. Wasn't like an amber. It wasn't like red.
That's common. Yeah, because I've heard of a bunch of sightings too. Triangle shape with like a faint red light.
And there was 3 of them though, because I remember it was like this triangle, but then the lights weren't in the point. It was just at the middle sections of the triangles.
Wait,
if that makes sense. Like the whole triangle.
So triangle shape, lights in the corners of each triangle.
Not in the corner, but like on
the flats,
in the center, more or less.
So it's just like 3 lights in the center, and okay, gotcha. So it's like more,
not quite at the points, just like in the center of this triangle, I guess.
Okay.
And I really didn't see it move much. But I just sat there and looked at her for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then it did this craziest thing. Just the absolute craziest thing.
Tell me.
I remember taking an inhale of a cigarette, and I exhaled, and then the smoke went up.
Yep.
And by the time the air took it and kind of like dissipated the smoke away from me.
Yeah.
So I could see again where I just blew that.
Yeah.
The triangle flashing light thing was no longer there. And it just seemed to completely just vanish.
Wow. So when you saw it, did you even realize that it was something messed up or something different before? Or was it after the smoke cleared and you saw it wasn't, like you realized it wasn't there and then you're like, holy shit, that was something?
Well, I kind of just sat there. Like, I've always believed in alien. Like,
yeah.
I've always had that conspiracy theory of aliens.
Right.
There's something greater out there in this world than us.
For me, it's like, I think you got to be so like small-minded and like limited thinking to think that we're the only ones here. Like, are you kidding me? We can't even see as far as there is out there, and you're telling me already that there's nothing else out there, that we're the only ones that...
Yeah, you can't even see the next planet to us, but then there's...
Go schmuck yourself.
Millions of galaxies.
Yeah.
And inside those millions of galaxies is millions of planets.
Yep. Yeah. I guess we're the only ones that are special. No,
there's definitely something else out there, but I definitely
whether or not it's intelligent like us, that I don't know. But like, if there's organisms out there, I mean, even if it's fucking like bacteria, there's life out there.
Yeah, and there could just be just a planet that's full of just 100% water?
Yeah. Or
what if there's
yeah.
giant Earth?
Yeah, I think it's common that people just assume like, oh yeah, aliens are more intelligent and more advanced than us. But like, there's cases that, you could argue for that. And some are very intriguing. But, for the most part, there's got to be something out there, even if it, like I said, is just bacteria, some sort of life form out there. There's just too much space for us to be the only ones. We're not alone.
No, we're definitely not alone in this. But when I saw this thing, I definitely sat there and I was like, I didn't think 100%, okay, that's an alien.
Well, because it was slightly red too.
That's
right?
a UFO.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't red. The triangle wasn't red.
Or the lights were.
Yeah, the lights were red. The triangle object that I saw was like a gray, black,
Was
dark.
it big?
From my perspective, not too incredibly oversized. Like it definitely was not the size of if you see a commercial airplane fly through the sky.
So it was like I
was like, okay, that's
like
a
small
smaller
plane size.
Yeah, from where I could see, I'm like,
how
that
far would you say it was away?
Oh,
Tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause,
it
definitely
definitely
something in the
seemed,
sky is tough to judge.
Yeah, I would definitely on it, like, because it was open field, so all you could see is
just
nothingness anyway.
Yeah.
You see the one huge tall cell phone tower out there that's 50 miles.
So it was
away.
like closer than like.
There's no way I could be like, okay, yeah.
Oh, so it was.
I don't know how high planes fly, but 80,000 feet, 100,000 feet. Well, I'm just saying, like, this thing was like,
so it was
50,
way
80,
out there,
not above the clouds. I don't know all this,
but close enough that you could see the individual lights.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it wasn't that big, and then literally I just like sat there. I'm like, okay, that looks like there's something, and smoked my cigarette and blew the smoke out, and then it was gone, and I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure that's I pretty sure that's a UFO.
Yeah.
I was like not convinced, but I was definitely like, okay, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That there's.
Yeah.
I've not come in contact, but I've definitely now seen something.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, that's crazy. Is that the only time?
Yeah, and that was the only time I've ever had that experience, and don't ever want to experience that shit again. Because I was kind of like, oh, that's weird, but again, it makes you think what else is out there. What if they were trying to come in contact? What do they really want from us? I don't think they want our information. I don't think we have anything useful for them.
Right.
I feel like they would be more advanced than us.
Yep.
I feel like at that point we are the guinea pigs.
Yeah.
If they're going to visit us, they're going to take somebody, use that little blue ray that you see in all the movies, suck them up, put a probe in you, and send you back down as a spy.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
That's the only thing.
You become a nerve for them.
I feel like they would use us humans for something.
Shit.
We don't.
That's a good theory.
Yeah, we don't have anything for them.
Fuck. And now all of a sudden they're just fucking sucking people up and just creating all these NPCs for fucking Earth.
They're just playing a giant video game right now. They just have an Atari stick.
Yeah. They're just coding Earth as a giant video game, and then the people that haven't been sucked up yet are just like the players. And then we're just walking around talking to all these NPCs.
Yeah.
But seriously, that's a good theory though. Just getting like slurped up. What would they want from us? Other than to observe. Like, what happens when we discover something that's like, less evolved? We just kind of watch it. We don't necessarily disturb it. Like, if we find like species or something, we'll like take photos of it, study it the best we can, and try to leave it alone as much as possible. And like if you're an alien coming and you find, like, say humans finding an ant colony, like we just kind of observe it, you know.
See, I kind of feel like if there is going to be something out there, I feel like what they're doing would be, everybody kind of already knows this. Everybody's, I'm sure, dealt with this before. When your cell phone listens to you,
Yep.
you talk about something with your friends. You talk about how you want to get a new dog and this new cat, whatever.
And then an ad pops up.
And then ads pop up, these different suggestions. Hey, you might want a dog now.
Yep.
Well, I feel like that's what, if aliens were to come down to Earth, I feel like that's what they would want to do, a target. They would pick somebody who could have reach.
Yeah.
And the growth to talk to multiple people and get people's information, and say they do all this, the Blu-ray, and take you up into their little UFO ship and probe you and put you back down. I feel like then you're now as a spy with them. You're basically the cell phone's microphone.
Yeah.
And recording device.
Yeah.
And you just kind of walk around recording all this information, and then the aliens would take that information back and basically try to sell you on more of this life expectancy type thing.
So like life expectancy type thing. What kind of is your? What do you mean by that?
I think that they are going to try and sell us and push us to be a forever living, like how some people have seen these different alien. They've had these.
So you think they're trying to help us, basically?
In a way, yeah.
Okay.
Some people say they've had these alien encounters, and they don't. They only give them good information or good news or good vibes, basically. I guess.
Yeah.
So maybe they could be out here trying to help us.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's just this greater life force than we could ever understand. I mean, they've had, if these ships, these UFOs are a thing.
Yep.
I mean, heck, that's almost more technologically advanced than most of our military.
Oh yeah.
With the cloaking and the speed that they could travel at.
Yep.
They have nothing useful from us besides, I guess, selling us things. And if they're from this other galaxy, again, there's basically, I mean, we haven't explored every single galaxy, so there could be infinite.
We haven't even finished exploring our own.
No, there's so much going on out in this universe.
Yeah, we can't even explore our own planet fully.
If they can travel that fast,
yep,
they could be hopping Milky Ways.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or they're hopping galaxies at this, like they're hopping everything, and they could be targeting certain planets like Earth, or going to this other Milky Way and this other place called Zerth.
Yes,
selling it to their humans too.
Yeah, Zerth humans.
Yeah, and they're green.
Just selling ads to Zerth humans.
Oh no, that's where the Simpsons come from. They're all yellow.
Yes. Yeah.
That's Zerth.
Yeah, different. Yeah, that's exactly.
Yes, it's exactly like Earth, just yellow.
Yeah, yellow people.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that's, if the aliens are real, that's what they're
helping us.
They are real.
Okay. Yeah, I would imagine that too. If there's something advanced like that, if they were threatened by us, they would have taken us out by now. If they can get here, they have the capability to take us out. I would say that they would probably try to help us if, saying that we're still here and their sightings, they're probably either observing us as a neutral kind of entity, or they're going to try to help us out. But a tough thing too that I like to think about is, if we visited another planet, say we got the technology first, and we kind of, or when we do, and we find a planet or something that has life on it, similar to where we're at right now as far as the evolutionary standpoint, how would we go about communicating with them without offending them, first of all, and second of all, like, scaring the shit out of them? Like, and also too, to keep in mind, like, we have not only do we not speak their language, but we have no form of translation to even, and not only that, translation, but also, for all we know, these things, like, we don't, if not knowing anything about them, like, they might have different fucking forms of throats, so they can't even make the same sounds as humans, so there's no way to even speak the same language if we wanted to. Like, how would we go about something completely different that we can't even, like, comprehend or come close to translation or any form of it? Like,
so that's the thing, is I don't think that there's no way we could communicate with them. If they were to come out and, like, talk to us, they have all that technology to travel. If they had all that technology to travel that fast, we're thousands of years away from seeing that. It takes us 7 years to get to, I believe it's Mars, or is it
I'm not sure.
the moon? One of them starts with an M. Takes
Probably
multiple
Mars,
years.
because, yeah.
But even so, it takes months. They're more advanced than us.
Yep.
So by the time that we were to even get out of our solar system to try to get to another planet, to even attempt.
Yeah, we're stuck. We're like trapped little monkeys stuck in this solar system.
You're 300 years away.
As far as we know, we haven't even gotten anything out of the solar system other than, like,
some lost satellites.
Yeah, that went dead, or we lost connection with, that one that went out to Pluto or whatever, that just, like, we lost connection with.
Once it...
Who knows where that's launched to.
That's why I don't think that we could give them anything. We are not advanced enough for their knowledge. We could not speak their language. I feel like they could speak our language.
Yeah.
I think that they could, in a way, disguise themselves as a human, as these NPCs out in this world.
Yeah.
And talk to us in our English language, but then they go back and translate what they just had this conversation with us, and we have no idea what any of that could mean.
Yeah. But I feel like if something like that happened too, I feel like you'd have to, like, get in contact, and, like, I feel like there is some form of universal.
I mean, like Morse code, but Morse code isn't 100%.
Well, not just that, but I'm thinking, like, body language, where, like, you can do that cross species too. Like,
have you ever seen that movie?
What movie?
Oh man, there was this movie when I was a kid, and it was about aliens. And they're like, this is how we say hello, and they kick you in the balls, and this is how they say goodbye, and they, like, pee from their finger.
I don't remember. That sounds familiar though. I think I remember that. Yeah, but, like, not that specifically, but, like,
I don't know. Body language doesn't sound good.
Oh yeah, not bodily fluid language. Yeah. No, but, like, no, like, cross species though, we can kind of communicate. Where, like, we kind of have a way about knowing how our dogs are feeling, or, like, when you're out in the woods, you can see, like, a predator, kind of, like, if they're preying, or, like, how something's feeling by the hair standing up on its back, or, like, the ears, and kind of, like, the look in its eyes, like, or, like, even human-like creatures. the way the shoulders are kind of put, the way if it's like quartering towards you or
But
whatever.
then that kind of, I feel like that would go back to how you were before of if they have different types of throats.
Yeah, you're right.
If dogs kind of go with us humans because of how we talk about it, they don't necessarily understand what we're meaning 100% of the time. They kind of understand eventually, okay, treat means this thing.
Yeah.
Outside this means this thing. But if you have no information on it, no background with it, I mean, a dog can learn Spanish, basically. Dog can know Spanish language, German languages. For somebody that's, I guess, a human that's already basically trained to know the English language.
Yep.
And I mean, even if it's either any other language, German, Russian, Polish, whatever have you.
Yeah.
If you're going against something that has a possibly completely different body.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Us humans. So it could have no spine. So it could not have the same type of movement as us.
Yep.
So maybe if we were to go out for a handshake, well, that's not something to them as a friendly gesture. Maybe that's completely offensive and you're trying to start a fight, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously you have no language communication.
Yep.
And now your only other option was body, and now your physical went out.
That's a good point, too. So like dogs and stuff, that's a good point. I would like to say a lot of that is like tone of voice and stuff too, and like they learn specific words, like you said, but like I feel like the way you present yourself, or like you like spread your arms out and say like, "Hey buddy, how are you?" kind of like excitedly, like they kind of learn like that's good. But like again, that's learning where I suppose with like an alien, they have no frame of reference where it's like that could be on the attack kind of for them. Like who knows?
And I mean, who knows if they're 10 years old?
Yeah.
Or 1,000,000 years old.
Yeah, that's a good point too. How long these things
we've never known.
Yep.
Nobody's ever even tried to know a life expectancy of an alien.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, and like also that there's only one other kind out there. So it's like we could be struggling with this over and over again for eternity as like human beings.
Yeah.
Because like who knows how many forms are out there as we uncover more and more of space.
There's been, I mean, this has been going on for a long time. People trying to discover these aliens and figure out who and what they are.
Yep.
Really, there's so much more out in that world, in this world, in this galaxy than I think any of us normal American people could ever fathom.
Oh yeah. Well, actually thinking about kind of taking it back to our solar system and like getting out and whatever, but like I got a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Have you ever thought, so we got our solar system and what is it? Like Mercury, first planet closest to the sun, then it's Mercury, Venus.
Yeah, I was good at math, not all this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's Mercury, Venus, Earth, then Mars, and then
Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus.
Yeah, and then it's asteroid belt, and then gas giants, right? Yeah, I think.
Oh, you're talking about for like the stars after that?
No, just for the planets. I think that's it. I thought you were searching it. Fuck.
Well, yeah, I mean, like there's Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and then I mean a gas giant's a whole different thing.
Yep. Yeah, and then Pluto. That's a different topic. You can argue that. No opinions being announced on that. But the asteroid belt. Here's the question. The asteroid belt. The fuck is that shit? Actually, though, I have a theory. What if that was? What if that? What if that was a planet that was obliterated?
Oh, it was. That's exactly how the moon got created. Was
Fuck. I guess I'm just behind.
what is it?
Fuck. I thought I was fucking smart.
What was it? Jupiter and Earth collided.
What?
Two planets. It was Earth and another planet collided.
Oh, really?
And whenever they sent out Apollo 15, the moon rock that they got had whatever traces, and then they linked it back to being Earth. Huh. There was this
Chunks
trace of whatever type of substance that's found on Earth on this moon, on our moon. Huh. So there was, I guess, a conspiracy.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. Fuck. I always thought I was so smart.
100%.
Like, I have a fucking idea. What if the asteroid belt used to be a planet, but it was obliterated?
Yeah, and I mean that's how our America. That's why it's shaped how it is.
I guess that's how America is created.
Not our America. Okay, so North America, South America, all the different continents, and they were all combined at.
Yeah,
somewhat
combined. Yeah, they fit together.
Tectonic plates.
Yeah, you can piece them together.
So maybe whenever this sonic boom / the moon being created,
yeah,
we can throw back. I mean, that's thousands of years.
Sonic boom explosion nuke.
Yeah, whenever all this happened, it could have been the Earth colliding with this other planet and took off a good portion of the Earth and started forming out into this asteroid belt, which became our moon, and that's why we have the orbit around it. Well, not orbit around it, but the orbit. And then the tectonic plates cracking and separating our continents.
Yep.
And then the asteroids, how many ever years later?
Yep.
Wiping off all of our dinosaurs and all these different animals.
Yep, the megafauna.
And I mean, that's why I always seen this as, I guess, as a simulation, because it's gonna seem it
theory.
is a simulation.
Oh God, now we're going to this.
Yes.
Okay, take me there. Take me.
It seems like it's gonna happen every so many hundred years or thousands of years,
like a great reset.
Yeah, they're just gonna. It could happen as maybe it could be an alien just dropping stuff out from their UFOs.
Well, here's the game.
Rocks.
If this is a simulation, here's the game. Get off of fucking Earth. See if these people can figure out how to get off of Earth in a certain amount of time, and we just keep failing.
But that's the thing is we can't.
Because we suck.
Yeah.
Because we can't. We just sit here and argue with each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, you schmucks. Let's just get together and get off this fucking planet.
Yeah, I mean, it takes us so long just to get to Mars.
Yeah, we're sitting here arguing over politics when we got to get off this thing when there's an asteroid on its way or a Yellowstone that's about to erupt and blast us to pieces.
Yeah.
Fuck. Everybody just quit your bickering and let's fucking build rockets. Get out of here.
Elon Musk, help us.
Yeah. Fuck. Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, that's gone pretty far into the alien theories.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. Fuck.
But that's really, I mean, that's a good portion about what happened throughout my life.
Yep.
And how that all started out to be me, but trying to get back to where we were before. Yeah. Way long ago.
Yeah, let's reel it on back now.
You brought up aliens at one point, and we all got sidetracked.
Yep. Yeah, so you pretty much, the story ends at the farm. You got abducted.
Yeah, almost got abducted. And, no, like that farm kind of ended.
Yes, I almost got a duck.
Yeah.
Dude.
That farm ended, and I basically, there wasn't too much like bad, too much happening there, just not a lot.
Yep.
Besides working.
Yep.
Then came back, and that was 2019, 2018, 2019.
The years just roll on. Time keeps slipping into the future.
And after that farm closed, I decided to change my life, I guess.
Yep.
So I went up to a different state, moved up to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I have my sister and my brother that lived up there. And I was going to go work at this steel foundry.
Yep.
Oh, it seemed really cool on paper until I got in and like actually started doing the work. Man, the room was like 400 degrees. And all we do is you stand in this little 3x3 spot for 8 hours a day, and if you want to get overtime, you have to come in 6 hours early or leave 6 hours later. You can't choose how much overtime you want.
Nice.
They make you.
Is this my way or the highway?
Yeah, it was very tough. So that was one thing I was like, and I got third shift, so 10 o'clock at night till 6 in the morning. So that was really fun.
Nice.
And did that for, I don't know, 4 months. About 3 months or so. Really was just trying to make everything happen up there.
Yep.
And not a lot happened.
Yeah.
Literally, I just work, go home, sleep all day.
Yep.
Play games maybe, and then go work again.
Yep.
I didn't have anything going on in my life.
Yep.
And then I think it was just one day you just called me. Hey, it's been a while since I talked to you. You come back down here for my girlfriend's party.
Yep. Yeah.
It's her surprise 21st party. Hey, yeah, sure. And that was my first time seeing you and her, and I mean, a good 3, 4, 5. It seemed like forever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while since.
Yeah, and we hung out for a few hours, had a few drinks, had some fun that night, and I just went back to my mom's house, stayed there for the night. I think I drove back up to Wisconsin the next day. Yeah, then you called me only a few weeks later after that.
Yep.
And I think you just said, hey, we're going to hire somebody. Do you want a job with me?
Yep.
And I was like, man, yeah. If I can work next to you, cool.
Fuck yeah.
And
just like old times.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was a little bit different than the farm, but a little mix into what we were going to do.
Work together.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up here. This is definitely an interesting one. It was cool to see you I know a lot of the stuff you shared was some personal stuff, some personal stories.
Yeah, it was definitely personal, and then it was also very mixed around.
Yeah.
Because we kept kind of hopping back between a few different things, and I hop around a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's okay for those of us that are like me with ADHD and kind of have all over the place brains.
Yeah.
I think they'll appreciate this. But no, this is good. I thank you so much for just sharing these kind of deep stories and these personal things. I know that was not the easiest thing to do. And then even opening up kind of your thoughts on this podcast is definitely an interesting podcast because we do kind of put ourselves out there by sharing, different opinions that, people might think are kind of crazy. So it is tough to do, but thank you for sharing your thoughts on your theories on kind of where we're going and who we are kind of thing and what's out there. So I love that stuff. And thank you for coming on the podcast. Is there anything you want to say to kind of call this episode complete?
No, not.
Just
can't think of anything.
Rock on, right?
Yeah, just rock on and have a fantastic day.
Fuck yeah. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you have any thoughts or questions or concerns about this episode, reach out to me at the mindhikingpodcast@gmail.com or on Instagram, Brody_Frye_63. I'd really appreciate that. Any ideas for future topics or anything like that, please reach out. That would be awesome. Thank you guys for tuning into this episode, and hopefully you guys were able to focus on this because it was all over the place. So thank you guys so much. Thanks for being a part of this today, Brandon. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. All right, rock on, guys. See ya Wednesday's bonus episode. Peace.